Monday, which means Monday motivation. So I posted when I shared this out, I was like, Mondays are my favorite day. Well, maybe not Monday morning, but Monday evening is definitely my favorite time. So welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope you all had a great weekend. If you do not know who I am Pamela, aka Scooterrenee. I am the host of your Monday Motivation, as I am for all Monday Motivations. So welcome in. I do Monday Motivations on Monday nights for the most Mondays I do. And then I do auctions Tuesdays, most Wednesdays, Thursdays, and then sometimes on the weekend. You just never know where you're going to catch me at. So that's why it's very important that you do the 3 YouTube things. You subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Make sure you ring the bell for all notifications so you know when I go live or upload new content. And ring or thumbs up. Yes, thumbs up. That would be great. I do tend to post to my community page where I'm going to be and everything. So just make sure that you are subscribed so you can get those notices of where I'm going to be. So if you are brand new to my channel, welcome in. I hope you'll continue to come back, especially on Monday nights for Monday Motivation. Feel free to come into the auctions as well. But if you are new, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. All my OGs, welcome in. It's always so great to see you guys. I love seeing each and every one of your names as it pops up in chat and everything. And then, of course, the playback crew. I can't ever forget you guys. The playback crew. If you are the playback, let me know that you're the playback crew. I love it, regardless if it's one person or 4 people telling me that they're the playback crew. Let me know that you're the playback crew because you count just as much as the people that are here live with me. So, but it does show that you don't have to catch me live, but it's so much more fun. I always worry about grammar. But anyways, for me, it's more fun when you can catch it live because then you're right in the moment with the chat and everything. So like I said, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let's welcome some people first. Why don't we? All right, let's go. We got Cool Ranch in here first. Good evening. Welcome in. So good to see you. We got Josie's Place here as well, guys. So Thursday night, I'll be on with Cool Ranch at 7:30 p.m. Central, and I'll be on with Cool Ranch on Saturday as well. Can't remember the time off the top of my head, but Cool Ranch, feel free to drop that time. And then Josie's Place, Selena and I will be on with Josie Wednesday night. I got a lot going on this week. I had a lot last week, and I got more this week. A whole lot, more than I thought I did. We got Nancy here. Hey, Nancy. Isn't it funny whenever you see something hit somebody right in the moment? Yeah, it just hit me. Welcome in, sweet Nancy. We got Black Widow here. Hello, Black Widow. So good to see you. I believe this Sunday supposed to be on with Black Widow and Dark Side Channel Jennifer, right? Like I said, it's crazy. We got Steph here. Hello, Steph. Welcome in. And feel free to multitask. You know, I'm always driving or working on my stuff whenever you're live. So welcome in. Hey, is it Gory? Let me know. I always like to make sure I pronounce your name right. But welcome in. So glad to have you. We got Sandy here. Hello, Sandy. Welcome in, sweetheart. We got Shelby. Hey, Shelby. Welcome in. We got Lisa D in the chat. Hey, Lisa D. Welcome. And then, of course, Selena. Hello, my feather sister. Will be on with me tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Central. And Cool Ranch says, I'm your original OG. Right, sister? That's right. Like, Cool Ranch has been with me ever since I started on YouTube. And that was, golly, 2019, I think. So, yeah. Been around forever. Oh, Sandy. I don't want to make everybody cry. But there are some topics that get very touching and, you know, kind of gets you to thinking about things. Tonight's topic, I was talking to Selena earlier. I was like, man, you talk about fingers pointing at myself. Yeah, tonight's topic, I even told Cool Ranch. I was like, yeah, tonight speaks volumes to me. Hello, Susan Arrington. Welcome in. So glad you're here for you to hear me say hello. And I'm not seeing it after the fact, right? Welcome in, Susan. All right, let's see. Make sure I'm not missing anybody. Yeah, Ryland's there. The next one. Thank you, Black Widow. I was really starting to worry. I was like, have I really booked myself up? Which is no big deal. I'll roll with it as always. There we go. March 8th at 6 p.m. Mountain, or 8 p.m. Eastern, or as I like to say, 7 p.m. Central. Oh, yeah, Susan, I've been, plugging and going. I would say probably Cool Ranch, and I always talk about this. It's like, was it 2019 or was it 2020? Because I know I definitely was on during COVID. I don't know what I would have done without YouTube during COVID. So I definitely have been reselling seriously since 2017. I dabbled in it before that, but I've been selling seriously since 2017. So, oh, you're fun, Susan. All right. I was wondering when that was happening, Susan, because I knew you had told me that. You had left me a message or something that said you were going to be starting taking a break from YouTube for Lent, so which I think is incredible. Oh, I'm so glad I was on. Okay, so Cole says 2019 for sure before COVID. So, all right, I think I've got everybody. You're fine, Black Widow. We all do it. Multitask. That's what tonight's all, Monday night motivation. You don't have to pay attention, worried about you're going to miss a sale or anything like that. So, yes, that's why I also do this. So you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. And reminder, guys, there are a lot of great things going on in YouTube. So people will be popping in as they get the notification and maybe bouncing back and forth. So there you go. Right. Yes, that's right. Yes. So, yep. All right. Let's get started. Like I said, I hope you all had a great weekend. I worked a half a day Saturday up at the flea market, and then Robert and I went to our 2-year-old grandson. His birthday was actually yesterday, but we had his birthday party Saturday, so we went and celebrated his 2 years, being 2 years old and everything. And then we came home, and then we had our in-home date night. Robert and I, as y'all all know, Robert has always been a wrestling fan, and for me, wrestling's not like the most important thing to me, but it takes me back to my grandmother. My grandmother was the one that got me into wrestling and everything. So whenever there's a pay-per-view, Robert and I will order pizza, or we'll order something in, and then we just sit there and just spend time together watching, pay-per-view. So that was what was going on Saturday night. So we had our own little in-home date. So we've been doing that for years. So love it. It's actually, I told Robert, I was like, even though it's not something that is on my radar, it's like I really look forward to those pay-per-view nights. So, let's see. And then Sunday I worked that afternoon at the flea market because we're only open from 1 to 5 on Sunday. So, but I got a lot done. I went in at 10, got vendors checks ready with Tammy. And I got everybody's rent updated, make sure everybody had paid. So then Tammy would know who had paid and who hadn't paid just yet for this week. So I know, right, Selena? Nothing wrong with Jeff Hardy. So I love it when there's other people that know things about wrestling, especially the ones back in the 90s, I would say. 80s, 90s is when I remember it. So Robert can go all the way back. So. Let's see. Last week, we added our habits cable. And so tonight, we're going to be adding one more cable because next week, guys, we will reach the top of our hero mountain. We will reach the summit. So this week's cable is going to be all about relationships. So we're going to be talking about, the different types of relationships and so forth. So very, very eye-opening topic for me as I was making my notes and everything. So I hope you all will find something in this topic that you can use going forward. So first up, Positive thought. Relationships are built on love, respect, and honesty, but they need communication to survive. So let's look at the simple definition of relationship. Relationships, it is the way two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected to the state of being connected. So that's all it is two people or more becoming connected. So when people are actual climbers, because we talked about climbing our hero mountain, and that's what all this has been centered around, is climbing. When people are actual climbers, to help mitigate the risk of falling or slipping, it is essential for these climbers to join a rope team. We added ropes in this as well. So not just cables, we've also added ropes. So it's essential for them to join a rope team. And the rope team is where two or more climbers who are attached to a single climbing rope moving simultaneously together. And it's to keep the rope taut through the climb. If there's too much slack in the rope, it possesses a risk or poses a risk to the team because the rope isn't tight enough. And a climber can fall and maybe even pull other teammates down with them, which is not a good thing for one or everybody to fall, right? So it's critical that they be aware of and value the principles of rope climbing. To have the safety and confidence, it's important to have good climbing partners. As I thought about that, I thought about you guys, because we've been climbing together since the beginning of January, just on this alone, for our own personal hero mountain. And so that's how I kind of look at you guys, and maybe y'all look at each other that way. Those of you that come every Monday, is that this is a safe, and we're all, we lift each other's spirits up, we build people up, we help build confidence and everything. And so, to have the safety and confidence, you have to have that, whether you're climbing or in life or Monday motivation. And so you also got to be able to push fellow climbers, which is also another, as I say, build each other up. You got to be able to push those climbers to do and be their best. So my job here each Monday is to help you guys, and in return, you guys help me to push each other to be our absolute best that we can be. And that exact same principle is true in our day-to-day life, regardless if we're working or we're retired, we got family relationships, married, any of those. And so, and I'm jumping ahead of my notes because that's what I put, rather it be our spouses, kids, friends, or even coworkers that we work with. We all know that the start of marriage and the start of a family, after two people become married, they start their family, that they produce the family members, that they form the backbone. And we treasure them and see the significance in, people getting married and having a family. If we start with the wedding, these ceremonies often include common features like wedding songs, the wedding vows, the food, maybe a horse-drawn carriage. Those are what we relate to getting married most of the time, is those few things. But a marriage ceremony is an important rite of passage. When the bride and groom are standing up front or in front of people, so maybe, it's a justice of peace situation, whatever, there's still people around, and they say their I do's, there is a profound change that occurs. The woman is joining her life with another human being and vice versa, and each are different from each other in more ways than they can possibly imagine. I think this is where God really shows his sense of humor. Like, let's see how y'all work this out, right? You think you know him, you think you know her. Let's just see how y'all work these little quirks and everything out. So regardless, whether you have a simple or an extravagant wedding, change happens. And it's going to happen whether we're ready for it or not. And as we get older and with our spouses, especially, a surprising transformation also may happen in relationships when the spouse's I do's become I don't. Most problems couples face start with an inability to grow and change, at least with one of the partners. And of course, these circumstances are understandable. Take a couple that is raising children together. Much of their focus and purpose is centered on growing those children to responsible adults. Hopefully, right? All the things that go into raising kids, but as the children grow to adulthood, the object of a couple's attention changes as their focus and energy are then redefined. And as I thought about that, all I could think about was my brother-in-law and his first wife, and this is Robert's brother. And they were so centered around their 3 kids. They had 2 boys and a daughter. And the boys, they were in travel baseball, so they were constantly, if anybody's ever been a part or knows someone that's been part of travel baseball or a travel team, regardless of what the sport is, there's a lot of traveling. And so you're constantly trying to figure out, okay, so this week we play here, tomorrow night we play there, next weekend we're here, there's constant, being involved in that kind of stuff. And then their daughter, our niece, had a stroke when she was just 10 years old. And that required around the clock attention for a bit. She was in a hospital for a while. I won't go into all the details of what all she had to go through, but that was even before Robert and I got married. It was right before we got married. Then the continuing a baby in her, if you will. I don't know how else to describe it, but one of the big things is she never could tell time on a regular hand watch. It had to be digital. And it's like, why didn't they ever teach her how to do that? And she might know how to do it now, but I just remember that being one of the things back then. But things like that, we all tend to do that, especially if our kids are going through things that are hard, and especially if it's an illness or whatever it may be. We tend to baby them for a while as it is. So, but they were doing all this. They were so involved with the boys' baseball and taking care of their daughter and everything that when the kids were grown, they no longer knew each other. They didn't know who the other person was. And, they ended up ending a 25-year marriage. And that is so scary to me. And I think, the reason why that's so scary is Robert and I will be married 25 years next year, and I've told him back when all that went down and so forth, it's like, I don't want to be spending, be so invested in this relationship only for it to end up, being done, 25 years, that's a long time. I just can't even fathom it. I can't imagine it. I couldn't, you put so much time and energy, or at least I have with Robert and everything. And I think we all can say that we've invested a lot of time with our spouses and just friendships. It doesn't really matter at that point, but I couldn't imagine starting over again, I guess is what I'm getting at on that. But that's why, yes, Robert and I are on our second marriage, and it will be the last marriage for both of us. But our first marriage, it was very short-lived. I was 5.5 years. I think he was 3 years. So, we hadn't invested a whole lot of time into it. And of course, we tried to make it work with our other person, even though I to this day don't believe that that's who God had intended for us to be with. And so it was so important to Robert and I when we got together that we would get away a weekend here and there, longer if we could possibly work that out, because we had 3 girls. It was so important that we could get away with each other so we could focus on being Robert and Pamela, not mom and dad, and, co-workers and with our bosses. And so, all these other relationships, we needed to be focused on each other. And I knew that when my kids got older, that they would eventually leave and it would be just me and Robert. And I didn't want to look at him and think of him as a stranger. And I think that's why we're so strong now that we're empty nesters. We really enjoy our time together. It's a whole new world for us because we both had kids when we came together in this marriage and everything. And now it's kind of like being teenagers all over again and getting to really explore the world together and so forth and do things that we had never done before. And so, it's been so worth it. And I remember one of the arguments with his mom was, I never left my kids, what she said. And I know back in the olden days, you didn't leave your kids. But with everything so fast paced now, especially, it's so important to slow down and spend some time with your spouse, your friends, anybody. Especially in the last 3 years, as what this has, taught me with losing my parents and everything. So, because you just never know. Now, as I say that, don't get me wrong. It hasn't always been a smooth sailing or ever will it be smooth sailing for us. But, taking care of the relationship it's definitely a lot like riding a roller coaster, right? You have the ups and downs, you have the twists and the turns and the surprising jolts maybe. And some relationships you'll embrace that sudden spiral possibly, but others they just brace themselves. They brace themselves and they got their eyes closed and they're white knuckling it on the bar, as they hang on and they're waiting for the air brakes, the air brakes at the end of their event to kick in. At least you hope, for the air brakes, right? Let's see. Steph said her in-laws ended their 45-year marriage. At the time, I only knew, like my parents, they were married for 15 years. My mom and dad, they were married for 15 years. And then my dad decided he wanted something different. And, and so he went right into another marriage with my stepmom and everything. And they were married for 17 years and she wanted a divorce. So, my dad had never been on his own until after that. But those were probably the longest. And then Robert's brother for 25 years, that just blew my mind. So I just couldn't imagine. I definitely can't imagine it 45 years. Sandy said, after 46 plus years, I will just hide the body, right? Siri can help you with that, by the way. Oh, and of course, she's got to chime in here. Hold on. I don't know how. There. Yeah, go away, Siri. I should have known better than to say the name. Let's see. Selena said, me and Sam made sure each other was just as important as our relationship with our kids, right? Yes. Because they do. You hope that they will go on and, do great things with their lives and have things, more things. Hold on, guys. Okay, hopefully that went away. Let's see. Steph said, have to invest in your marriage. Otherwise, you wake up and realize you got nothing in common. Oh, you got nothing in common. You were looking at Mr. Stephanie going, you hot thing, weren't you? You got nothing in common minus kids, grandkids, right? Yes. Oh, Sam just told Selena that Dolly Parton's husband passed away today. 60 plus years. Wow. Right, Selena? Yes, and of course, this isn't all about marriage. So hang in there with me, guys. If you're like, Scooter, I'm not married, or I just, I've been divorced, I'm single, whatever it may be, we're getting into the friendship, I promise. Yeah, I still get butterflies. If Robert hasn't made it home and we're going out, I still get butterflies for him to come and pick me up, I think as long as we are always dating each other. Robert, you ask Robert what the secret to marriage is. Robert will always tell you that it's always been important to him to study me, learn what I like, learn what I don't like, really invest in learning who I am as a person. He probably knows me better than I know myself. He probably is not even in that. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. He knows me better than I know myself, is what I'm trying to say. So, but there's no need to panic, even though there are twists and turns in relationships. Those alterations are normal and can be met with confidence and expectancy. Now, in computers, the term morphing, if y'all ever heard that word, morphing, it describes the image that has changed from one shape to another in gradual steps. And life has a way of morphing stages too, with changing priorities that redefine purpose. Certain friendships, relationships, and business contacts, those will also shift. And some of these will become less important while others become more important to us. And when we define how those relationships will look and how they can morph with small gradual steps, it's a thought-provoking prospect. When you look at the caterpillar, for example, and the caterpillar transforms into a butterfly, its process is described by the Greek word metamorphosis. Yeah, big word there. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. So even though the modification of a caterpillar to a butterfly happens more quickly, the principle is the same. It is better to take gradual steps during metamorphosis. Yeah, that word. But be mindful that even those incremental revisions, it will push many out of their comfort zone. At this point in my life, again, I'm 50. I feel like I'm at halftime. I have not recognized any natural changes occurring as a woman. And those of you that are women in here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't even remember my mom going through the changes. And maybe she did after I was, moved out or whatever. And I have some friends that are my age that are already experiencing, things like hot flashes and mood fluctuations. But I feel fine. Now, Robert will probably tell you the mood fluctuations are a guarantee. But anyways. But again, those changes can be subtle. They don't come on. They're not quickly. They're not, hot flashes today, gone tomorrow. And you might think, oh man, I must have just been really hot. I had too many blankets on me last night. And you might not recognize it till much later. But maybe when I get older, I'll look back and realize there were subtle changes, but not right now. And relationships, they can have changes that are subtle, which can be dangerous sometimes. But ignoring your feelings rather than evaluating them can lead to things like feelings of alienation, bitterness, anger. And when we hold these feelings in, those feelings have the power to drive wedges between people, complicating their ability to communicate. Selena says, don't ask me how I feel when I see Sam in the truck. Oh, yeah, I know. We like giving you a hard time on that one. Selena says, I love my friends just as much as I do my family. They are my family. I will go to bat and fight for my friends, period. I take my love for my friends very seriously. Sandy says she's going to the big house. Yeah, if you do anything, yes. So life changes can bring changes in relationships. Things that don't even have anything to do with your relationship with a person. Things that you're going through called life can have effect on that. Our first step in any relationship, no matter what relationship that may be, is to define the relationship. And as our life stages evolve, there could be things that we face that could cause some serious dilemmas when it comes to any type of relationship. For example, things like, you're not the person that I married. You're not the same person when our friendship first started. I don't love you anymore. We have nothing in common anymore. We never have time to get together. You never call me anymore. I'm not sure I can work with you anymore. So see, you got the marriage, you got the friendship, and even work relationships. How many of us have felt those type of statements rising up in us? Maybe we didn't end a relationship, but we might have had that thought for, whatever you might have been going through in that part of your life. That might have, maybe, hopefully, that was a quick thought, but then some of those are really real thoughts that you follow through. I mean, my first marriage was definitely that. He wasn't the same person that I married, and I couldn't communicate with him anymore, and it was just done. So, but I felt those types of things, even if I didn't verbally say them. And all these statements, examples, they reveal common dilemmas when relating to a spouse, a friend, or a coworker. And if we're willing to turn those examples, statements around, we might see that it may be us and not them who have become different. And that was my thing. I felt like I wanted to grow and I wanted more in my life. And I felt like he didn't. And so therefore I felt like I was being held back. So that can be a thing. I wanted to grow. He didn't want to grow. Our priorities change. Jobs change. Even our spiritual lives can change. And maybe our extroverted life of the party type personality has transformed into a more introverted one who just craves being alone more than usual. So, and we talked about being introverted and extroverted last week before. Let's see. Friends become chosen family, right? Selena says we're not always going to see eye to eye, and that's okay. No one is perfect. Josie said no one stays the same as you mature. Steph says, have definitely reevaluated all my relationships during different seasons. Yes. And Selena said, what's important is to know it's okay to say anything and be you if it's done in a respectful way, right? I knew what you meant, Selena. But, our priorities do change as we get older, as we mature, as we, our values, everything can change as we get older. We might have different outlook on life and stuff like that. But if we understand our basic personalities, it can help us ride waves of change. If we seek to understand ourselves, then it becomes worth deciding and defining who we would like to have or keep in our close inner circle. In other words, if the ship was going down, who would be in your life rafts? Those are the people that are our closest connections. Now, you can't forget the many other people that are in your life. They're still on the ship who are valuable as well, but they're valuable in a different way. And there are some that are tempted to retreat in isolation when there's a change or there's an adjustment or a revision occurs. They want to retreat into isolation. And that is not only dangerous socially, but also physically. People need each other, and value increases of healthy relationships with the lengthening shadows of time. So it's critical that we take the time to define our closest relationships and then nurture those relationships. So chat participation time. Here we go. First one for tonight. I would like to quickly see if you can define an important relationship that's in your life right now. I know for myself, number one person in my life, below God and everything, the number one person in my life here on earth is my husband. He is top priority most of the time over any other relationships that I have. And don't get me wrong, my priorities can get shifted and then he's got to redirect me back. But he is the number one person in my life. He is the one that will get my attention before anybody else gets my attention. He is my confidant. He's my secret keeper. He's my best friend. He's my rock. He's my soft place to fall. He's my sounding board. He is absolutely my everything that I could ever need in my life. And then, of course, it goes to my daughters, and then not many, but some really important friends of mine. So, who is your important relationship in your life? I just want to see. Let me go back to the top. Selena said, I'll let you know when I grow up, Joe. Sandy said, been there. Remember the promise I made, for better or worse. It's usually yourself that you're not happy with. Very much so it can be. Yes. Right, Josie? Yeah, we don't think that'll ever happen, Selena. Hello, Joanne. Welcome in. Josie said her son. Steph says, the risk about growing and maturing is those around us not being on the same path, no matter what. It's knowing it's okay that not everyone is meant to be with us every step. Absolutely nurture relationships, right? Yes. And Selena said, when you have something catastrophic like a death of a baby, I'll never forget who carried me, right? You remember those that pulled you close and helped carry you during those tough times. Lisa D says, my daughter. I love that one. Nancy said her best friend from high school, Jackie. Yes. Steph said, myself after God, then Mr. Stephanie, kids, extended family to include chosen family. Yes. Thank you, guys. I love it. So we talk about life raft. And if you remember the movie or read about Titanic, I only remember the movie because I never read about it. You know that there were life rafts on the side of the ship. And we all know the famous line of Rose saying, I'll never let go, Jack. You know, but you look at some of those who got in the life raft together, moms, kids, because I know they were like, ladies, moms, children, they get in the rafts first. But moms, kids, sisters, maybe important people that needed to be able to lead things or whatever, maybe completed families were together. And in the movie, Rose is in the life raft with her mom. And she decided that Jack was more important. Remember, she gets out of the life raft to go be with Jack. And she wanted him in her life raft. And we know how the rest of the story went. So, who is in your life raft? Defining the connections in our inner circle depends on us. Naturally, we have people closest to us, such as spouses, family members, or lifelong friends. But as life and purpose change, even those relationships can be altered. At one point in my life, my stepdad was definitely in my inner circle. But as life has played out, that relationship has been altered. I had two best friends, Misty and Teresa, who are pulled into my inner circle at certain times. They used to be in my inner circle, but now they're probably just maybe on the outers of that circle. But I can pull them in when I really need them, but they don't remain constant in that inner circle. I've had people who were just there for certain seasons of my life, and then they faded out. Some will remain in our inner circles, while others will move to expanded circles of our lives or completely out. When it comes to networking and building businesses, if you're still working like I am and everything, casual friendships and social interactions, they play an important part. And there are certain friends that we have that won't be a close associate or colleague, but the interaction with them is still so very important. There was a study done of 2,300 men surviving a heart attack. And those who were socially isolated with high stress, they experienced 4 to 6 times the risk of death than those with social interaction and lower stress level. I think about my dad. My dad, had a heart attack at 47, was his first big one that he had. But my dad was also the type of personality that he just let things roll off his back. I never really ever saw my dad get upset to where he was yelling or angry or any of that. I never saw that in him. So maybe that's why he did survive that big, massive heart attack that he had at 47. Every single person needs connections of some sort. Now, the statistic, man, another word, is also relevant for women, since heart disease is currently the number one killer of females, followed by cancer. Connection with others must be, now here's where I'm starting to point the finger at myself, guys. But connection with others must be face-to-face and person-to-person rather than a Facebook friend. Fake relationships have increased with the rise of social media. Individuals may think they feel connected to their social media cohorts, but those relationships rely merely on a paper-thin base that crumbles easily. I mean, this also includes the relationships that we have built through Instagram, TikTok, and as we all can relate right here, right now, those that are built through YouTube channels as well. Between the social media and then we had COVID, isolation increases as face-to-face contact is replaced by technological communication. Like I said, I am guilty to this, that I don't like talking on the phone a whole lot. I'd rather text, but simply answering texts and connecting virtually shortchanges the value of a human touch and interaction. And I'm just like, wow, like that is, as Selena says, wow, that has been me. Further studies revealed that connection with friends or relatives is one of the best activities for keeping off dementia. As I found that out, I was like, well, my mom had Alzheimer's. It was a form of dementia. So I'm trying to do everything I can to prolong that if I am to even get it, So anything I can do to keep my mind healthy and stuff like that. And talking about connection with friends or relatives. Okay, well, I'm on board. I'm on board with that now. Let's see. Selena said, God, Sam, kids, pretty much the people in this chat to turd talking means a lot to me. Love you too, Scooter. The not to talking, is that what you were trying to say? Right, so calm. Yeah, that's the way. Robert and I, we do that. Like if it's something major that happens, I'm flipping out. He's calm as a cucumber, cool as a cucumber, whatever that saying is. Robert flips out on the small things. I'm just like, dude, check yourself. It's not that big of a deal, But like things I flip out about, he's not flipping out about. And things that he's flipping out about, I'm not flipping out about. So we are perfect balance to each other. Right, Josie? Who likes long emails? Blah, 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 right? Sandy says, the power of touch is healing. Yes. Oh, dang it, Sandy. You need to delete that email then to Josie. I didn't think about that, though. Josie said, is it a bestseller? It could be. So maybe it depends, right? So, a whole lot of you are going to be hearing from me, is what I'm trying to say. You're going to be hearing from me more then. You know, if that is what keeps off dementia, I'm all for it. But it at least reduces the onset of it, and so that should be enough for most to heed the warning. I am, believe it or not, I am a people person, which is why I like volunteering at the flea market. I like the the person interaction, hearing stories, sharing stories, making someone smile if they're having a rough day. I do realize though that for many, that involvement in situation and events where people can interact and be inspired cannot be easy for so many, right? And so some creative souls hibernating at home in a comfortable cave becomes the easier choice than going out. And as I say that, I think of my oldest daughter. She is so very creative. She's very artistic and everything. But she has major severe social anxiety. So she will always choose to stay at home than to get out. And I understand that. It's important that we take stock of our relationships to see how they can be improved. Establishing our list of contacts will reveal ways we can expand our circle of influence, friendships, and even business opportunities as well. Again, if you're in the working aspect as I am. All right. Selena calls me. She goes, honey, do I have a story for you? Oh. Well, actually, you all know me by how I answered the 4 or my first words, right? I know, twin. I get it when you call me with honey or twin, right? Yes. Oh. My favorite now is Sandy going, child, I'll let you go, child. All right. But it's important to take stock of those relationships. So chat participation time. Who are the people that you would include in your life raft? I know for me, again, it's my husband, my kid, and maybe a few of my friends. And maybe there might be some other important people that I need to include. But that's about it. I could probably fit my group, my inner circle, on one raft for sure. So I want to know who you would include in your raft, in your life raft. I want y'all to share. I'm going to get a drink of water while y'all think about that. Who would you include in your life raft? Is it Jack? Is it Rose? Is it the mean old rich guy that her mom wanted her to marry so bad? No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean. How big is the raft? As big as you want it to be, Steph. As big as you want it to be, or as small as you want it to be. I can't remember how many people could fit in the life raft off the Titanic. Maybe some of y'all might know. Oh yeah, honey's your favorite word, Selena. Honey. Cool Ranch says, Mike, Molly, Scooter, Roflo, and kids and their family. How big is the dang raft? However big you want it to be. You can let as many people on that raft or as many people off that raft, Josie said, Jesus, son, daughter-in-law, grandkids, and a few loyal friends, right? Yes. Nancy said, Jackie, Randall, Robin, Tammy, Nancy B. Valerie, is that a first name or is that Nancy B. Valerie? I like that. That's a first name. That's cool. So see, there you go. Selena said it would not be her brother. Her brother would not be on her life raft. She would choose to let him go, right? Pull his hands off that's frozen to the whatever they were on in the middle of the ocean and let go, right? Corinne said, okay, I'll add my mama. Joanne says, my husband, my daughter, and grandkids, best friend I've had for over 50 years. Twin, Amy, Scooter, everyone here, right? Sandy says she's going to need a big boat. Now, Sandy, is that big boat, is that for people in your life, or is that all the things in your life? Because we know we can't let your pretty things go, right? Joanne said it would not be my son-in-law. How many of us have relationships like that, right? There are some people that we would not have in that life raft, no matter who they are to us. Now, if you've ever been involved in having some kind of financial account, like a brokerage account, an investment account, where you are investing your hard-earned money, then you understand that dividends from like mutual funds, stocks, where those dividends, they play an important part influencing one's finances by adding value to the investor's profile. And just like that, activities that make us laugh, makes us think or listen, also adds health benefits to us. Stretching beyond our comfort zones or sameness provides a healthier dividend. Change requires sometimes our imaginations. Lisa D says, Jesus, Julia, Cody, Christine, my two brothers, not my sister, right? We're learning all about each other tonight. Steph says, God's with us. So Mr. Steph, kids, grandbaby, grandma, extended family, meaning of family chosen, right? Sandy said, people, things are temporary. I know, but you love your pretty things too, I know. Oh, Steph says she put all of us in her raft, just saying. Change, like I said, requires our imagination sometimes. Those of us with kids or grandkids, or maybe you haven't had one, so you got nieces and nephews, or friends' kids, whatever. We see firsthand how kids use their imaginations. They take something so simple and transform that simple object into a theme for a complete story. Something that doesn't look like a vehicle looks like a vehicle in their mind, right? Something that is a house that doesn't look like a house is a house in their world. I know, Selena. I know. But as we have gotten older, many jobs or minor tasks that we do, they require us to close off imagination and experimentation because we face deadlines and project restrictions. But when we take the time out to play and to create, it might feel strange if we do not exercise the powers from time to time. There's always going to be more projects, more emergencies, more work, more books to be read. All that is good, but not when that's the only thing you're doing, to the exclusion of healthy social interactions and relaxation. Purposefully taking the time for this creativity and connection, it can be a challenge. But taking a break for creative inspirations is worth the risk. I think of Selena when I think about being creative, or some of you that are like Josie with her jewelry art, and those of you that do junk journaling and stuff. Those of you that create things, I'm just blown away. Cool Ranch with her flower arrangements and stuff like that. Like, I know I can be. But y'all just blow my mind. And so y'all are doing that. Y'all are taking that time to exercise and be creative and use your imagination for things, right? So I just need to get better at that myself. So taking the time for creativity and connection, like I said, it can be a challenge, but it's so much worth the risk when you do. It can be dangerous to live a scripted and habitual life. When you're deeply ingrained in routines and activities and even in meal choices, it can lead to, here's another big word, monotonous ruts. I hope I'm saying that right. It's important to try even when it's not easy to take a breath and do an impromptu, so to speak, scene. When you're, just on a whim, you're like, oh, let's just take a road trip. You didn't plan it or anything. Robert and I will do that like a couple of Saturdays ago. He's like, hey, you want to go up to BB? Okay. We hadn't planned it. It was just last minute decision to do that. So we should challenge ourselves to try something new. Well, hold on, cool. Hold on. Hang tight with me. We all know that life brings impromptu moments. So we may need some improvisational skills. Now, no one can plan exactly how life's next scene will unfold, nor do any of us have expiration dates stamped on our foreheads. Having to take care of aging parents or engage with boomeranging children, our lives can become more complicated. You're fine. Right, there you go. Selena said, we can throw them off the boat, make them walk the plank. Yes, there you go. That's how we deal with negative relationships. We have to have resources to cope with those changes, and we can find an activity or focus outside our normal scope of what we do that will interest us, is how we can do that. But just like Monday Motivation, have groups helps everyone pull together towards a common goal if you're involved in a group. So Monday Motivation, we're a group, guys, whether you realize it or not. We are a group. Many of you have said tonight that we would include each other in that laugh raft. We're a group. And we have a common goal and providing common relationship threads as well. Now, these members may not be in your closest circle of friends. They do provide necessary connections that benefit our souls, our health, and even for some of us, our businesses. As we grow older, the reality is that our world gets smaller. I saw this as I moved my stepdad from where him and my mom had a condo, kind of a townhome style. Whenever she moved in with my brother, I moved my stepdad to a smaller apartment by himself. And then after that, I moved him even to a smaller studio apartment in a semi-assisted living. And then it got even smaller than that when I put him in the nursing home. Each move, he could only take few pieces of furniture, clothing, and such. And when the nursing home part came, he could only take a few clothes and possessions. All the material goods that he and even my mom accumulated and treasured over decades became irrelevant. Those, however, that can keep friends and family and value caregivers in that respect, they remain rich. It's not too late to build that treasure chest of true friends by expanding your relationships. I think a lot of people, rather in real life or online, forgets that to have a friend is to be a friend. Part of relationship development is to understand and truly care for others, both personally and professionally. When we know who is in our inner circle of influence, we can show appreciation to those who are closest to us in genuine ways. We can also do this by knowing they feel valued and that they're acknowledged by knowing their love language. A lot of people fit in different categories, and it can be helpful to define the love language of those that we care about. We can communicate in ways that make others feel understood, even with the negative relationships. You just got to study them, figure out what their love language is. So that's why some relationships can be so much more in conflict because they're not stopping long enough to figure out what that language is. There's some that just can't be helped. I will say that. So, but we communicate in ways that make others feel understood. Some of you may have heard of this before, and some of you may not have heard of this, but Gary Chapman's book, The Five Love Languages, and he also wrote a children's one as well. I have both of them. Contains simple ideas that are both timeless and priceless in application. Let's see, real quick, hold on. Yes, exactly, Joanne. She said, I have a ladies' Bible study group I go to twice a month. They're all around my age. I look forward to it. I've heard, like, going to Bible study, and then some of you ladies might go to lunch. I mean, that's, having a relationship with people. They might not be your closest friends, but you have that interaction. Selena says, I can picture us on a boat and a long rope and my brother on an inner tube behind the boat. Right? A girl can dream. Love the short plank, but usually give an extended plank, right? That's right, Sandy. You can't fix stupid. You just pray for it. Oh, that's horrible, Selena. Yeah, horrible. Joanne said that's sad when someone has got to go to a nursing home. They can only take some clothes and a few possessions, which may disappear from the rooms. Yes. My mom, she was in the, what's the word? Memory care area, and the doors stay locked. But there was all those rooms, and people went in each other's rooms and took stuff, and then they forgot that they, that was theirs. And some of them might remember those. Some of them might be like, that's my teddy bear. That is not your teddy bear. Dang it. No. Yes, memory care. That's exactly what I was saying. Yep. So, in his book, discovering what makes another person feel appreciated or heard eliminates or at least discounts their sense of being unloved or misunderstood. And then defining our own language is a good starting place. So the 5 love languages, we're going to go through them quick. If you have never heard of them, one is words of affirmation. And this one is a big one of mine. Words of affirmation are getting beyond yourself to think about others with a kind word to creatively express our appreciation. To affirm someone is to build them up. You can do this by emailing them, note cards, phone messages, to send short and thoughtful messages. Just let them know that you're thinking of them or that you appreciated something that they did for you or whatever it may be. Always use Selena as an example for this. But ever so often, I've told you guys this before, she'll send me a message. We haven't been talking, nothing. But just out of the clear blue, she'll send me a message that's not intended for me to reply to, but to remind me that I am important, that I matter, that I is smart, and that I am loved. So messages like that, I eat up and absolutely love. It makes my day. If I'm having a bad day, and she might not even know I'm having a bad day, it turns it around. Just like Robert sending me a text out of the whim, out of the blue, that just says 3 little words, but ever so important. Those are the words, I love you. Nothing else, just simple, I love you. Rocks my world. Number 2, quality time. We shouldn't always be in a rush, especially if we have someone in our life that needs and craves quality time. Now, this isn't one that is important to Robert and I, but we do carve this out from time to time, and especially vacation time where we focus on the quality of time together. Notice I didn't say quantity of time. Number 3, receiving gifts. Now, this is definitely a quick second on my love language. Robert knows it too. He uses it to his advantage. But our gifts don't need to be large or expensive. Some of y'all saw my Facebook post where I was getting something out of the center console, and Robert and I had just went into a gas station, and there was a little bitty sloth. It was probably about that big, nothing major. It was pink and purple, my favorite colors, and so anyways, but when I opened that glove box or whatever, the center console, and that sloth was sitting there, that rocked my world. It was an unexpected gift. He didn't have to do that for me. He could have just given it to me like, here, there's your sloth. No, he took the time to surprise me with that gift. And again, you're probably talking $6-7. Nothing expensive, nothing major. It's not a piece of Tiffany jewelry, although all of us women would love that, right? But you get what I'm saying. So even small tokens communicates appreciation to those who love gifts. I love giving gifts to those that I love, but I also like to receive gifts or surprises no matter the size of it. Number 4, acts of service. Acts of service. Now this one is number 1 on Robert's. This is his first place love language, acts of service. And I know this, and it's even the smallest acts of services that shows him that I appreciate him and love him. And we can offer our time and effort as an act of service to a family member, a friend, or a coworker. And this is when someone does something for them without being asked. So again, for Robert, it's things like unloading the dishwasher, filling up water bottles, cleaning up an area in the house, so forth and so on. It communicates that I care, I'm devoted, in consideration for his time. Small acts signals respect from the giver. One of mine and Robert's things have been, and I know I've gotten super lazy on this part, but he always said what he loved about us the most is that we see something that needs to be done and we just do it. There's never been a, male roles and female roles. We just do it. He does everything. I mean, everything. He's not just taking the trash out, He does, but it's not, what would be considered a male role type thing. Like, I love mowing the yard. I won't weed eat it, but I love it. And so many women I know will say, I take care of the inside, he takes care of the outside, but not me when it comes to mowing, at least. I love to mow. It's my time to think. It drowns out every bit of noise I have in my life. And it's just my time, whether it be my time with God or my time to think about a project or my time to just mellow out, zone out, so to speak. The last one, number 5, is physical touch. Now, this one is transmitted, obviously, differently between men and women, but it's important for both. Physical touch goes beyond sexual, especially as it relates to a love language. I'm a touchy person, and luckily Robert is too. I want the hugs. I want him holding my hand as we simply walk from or to the car. Him just reaching over to touch my hand or my leg when we're in the car. Now the biggest one for me of touch is when he just does a simple kiss on my forehead. So, from Robert and Robert only, obviously. So let's be clear on that one. I don't want my friends to be kissing on my forehead. And I love to hug my friends. I love to hug my children. Tammy, I think of Tammy. Tammy was not a hugger before I met her. And now she hugs all the time. Sometimes she does it without even thinking. I like to high five my friends and such. But, we're talking things about like just a pat on the shoulder, a fist bump, or even side hugs. They're accepted forms of physical touch for most in our society. Yes. Corinne says, next up, Scooterrenee LLC lawn mowing services, except no weed eating. I don't know what it is about the weed eater, but it terrifies me. All right, so let's do another chat participation time. What would you say is your personal love language? Like I said, mine are words of affirmation and receiving gifts, and closely probably followed by physical touch. What are yours? Do you have more than one? Like I said, Robert says acts of service. You just doing something for him without him asking you to do it, that rocks his world. I know if I want to be on his good side, I need to just do some things around the house. I won't go any further than that, but just do some things around the house. And I don't mean sexual, so don't take it that way either. Let's see. Selena says, my family don't trust me with anything that has a motor. They're smart. Yeah, Selena says she's a hugger, and she says, I love you when she leaves or hangs up the phone, right? Nancy's a hugger. Sandy's a hugger. Even strangers in need of one, right? First time I met Scooter, we were such huggers that we nearly fell over in the front yard, right? I mean, that was the first time we met, though. It was like, oh my gosh, you're real. You exist. Let me make sure you're really here. Joanne said, I never used to be a hugger. I didn't grow up that way. So the same way with Tammy. But when I married my husband, his family was a hugger, and I got used to it. Now I'm a hugger. Yes. Hey, Harry, welcome in. Steph says, number one for her is acts of service. Yes. Corinne says, hugs, touch, having Mike brush my hair. So the love languages are going to be, in case you forgot, is words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. So, like, again, mine is people tell me that they appreciate me, that I mean a lot to them, I'm doing a good job, I did really, good at whatever it may be. Words of affirmation are a big one for me. And then gifts. Gifts are my other love language. And then Robert's is acts of service. Number one. I don't even know what his close second is, because his acts of service is big for him. So Lisa D said hug. Yep. Joanne said, I tell people I love them too. That's something I didn't grow up with, but now I can say it, right? And we have those type of relationships where it wasn't thought of to say, hey, I love you. Now, I always like to tell Robert that I love him, regardless at night or when he leaves. Be careful, because I'm so afraid that, those might be my last words to him. And so I want him to know every night, hey, I love you. For him, he's kind of like, well, I don't want to just be saying it just to be saying it all the time, just because that's what you're supposed to do. So we kind of disagree on that one a little bit. Yes, you do, Selena. Nancy said, touch, words of affirmation. How many of us have done that? I've done that. Matt has done, my boss has done that to me. He's like, okay, well, I love you. And we start dying laughing. He's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, well, it's okay to love me. But Chlorine said, I was talking to the pharmacist and said, okay, I love you, bye. And then realized I did this just because she was so sweet, even though I didn't know her. Love it. Nancy says acts of service. Josie said, to me, action means more than words, and that would be Robert. Yep. So, those of you, that come to my auctions on my channel, always say communication is the key. Real quick, Selena said, just to be loved, I didn't have love growing up, not trying to have anyone. I feel sorry for me, just the facts. My mom says she couldn't help. She loved my brother then, and I accepted that. But funny how things can change, though, right? So, but yeah, when you come to my auctions on my channel, I always tell you guys, communication is the key. Do not make me chase you down to communicate with me. Communication is the key to all the love languages that we just discussed. Constructive communication builds relationships. Negative and critical communication only alienates and tears down relationships. By using love languages, it can heighten conversations and involvement. It's way too easy to let our worlds grow smaller the older we are getting. Having fewer conversation and mental stimulation can bring loneliness and isolation. Harry says, I've have hated someone before, then after getting to know them better, then love them after I understood their point. Yes. Yes. I love that, Harry, because I have had that. Misty and Teresa, that I was telling you guys about earlier, I thought were stuck up snobs, didn't even want to get a chance to really know them. And then we were forced to get to know each other because I was in piano lessons with one and I had to ride the bus with the other. And they've been my dearest best friends for, I think we're going on 40 plus years now. So 35 plus, something like that. I know, Selena, but it's so convenient to text. I know there are certain things I can text Selena and I'll go 3, 2, 1, phone rings, you know. Right? Yes. I never thought I would have a broken relationship with my stepdad. You know, I never thought I would have that with any of my parents. And, you know, unfortunately it happens. So, go back to constructive communications. You know, it builds relationships, and negative and critical tears them down. So by using those love languages, we can heighten conversations and our involvement with that other person. It's way too easy, as I said earlier, for our worlds to get smaller and not have those. And of course, again, that's what brings loneliness and isolation to us. So what do we do if our worlds are already shrinking or shrunk? We don't have as many people in our lives as we used to. We don't make relationships as important as we used to, whatever it may be. First thing first, we stop waiting for others to contact us. Woo! That's a big one for me. If I go anywhere, I'm always waiting for the other person to say something first, unless it's, you know, my friends, but people I don't know. But first thing first, let me go off on this tangent. You haven't called me, so therefore I'm not calling you. You know, I can be that person as well. But stop waiting for the other to contact me is what I need to start telling myself. Reconnect with friends and then expand to other groups and organizations as well. Reconnecting with friends has really been on my heart the last week as I got ready for tonight's topic. And of course, if that's difficult to do, like going to outside groups and organizations, then take a friend with you. Take one of your friends with you to go to these groups or organizations to develop other relationships. That can happen as well. All right, let's do another chat participation time. What ways can you encourage at least one of your important relationships by using a love language? I always think of my quality time and acts of service on this one. What would be yours? I can do more quality time with my friends, or acts of service, you know, for other relationships and other friendships as well. What would be yours? If that question makes sense. Right, exactly. Exactly. you're so right, Harry, that when you're thinking that way, the other person might be thinking that way too. Well, she hasn't called me, so why am I calling her? He hasn't called me. Why am I calling? Why should I call him? Very easy to do, right? Cool Ranch says more quality time with Mike. Yes. So while y'all are still thinking on that, I'm going to keep moving because we're an hour and 21 minutes. The 5 languages of love apply to loved ones and acquaintances, both public and personal. It helps us to understand others as well as our own self. And this way of communication especially applies to our close circles, who are extremely important to us as they act as anchors. We talked about anchors last week or week before last. We talked about anchors, and those are extremely important to us. They act as anchors for us, as the ones we use on our climb when we hit life's disruptive storms. We know who we can call when those disruptive storms happen in our lives. I know exactly who I can depend on and who I can call at the time of need. Lisa D said more road trips with Julia, week vacation to Door County. Is that what you really meant to write? Is that really a place? More quality time with Jackie, Randall, Aunt Dee Dee, and JoJo. There you go. Joanne says, reconnect with friends. Just send a thinking of you to a friend. Spend more time with her daughter. Yes. So when I go through things in my personal life, whether it's a loss of a loved one, grieving, or a blown tire, which is what I had last week, if y'all remember, or whatever, something that disrupts my life, I know who my anchors are and who I can count on. Each of these anchors have been part of my life in different ways as well. And those groups that you might be in, remember that it's helpful you possess similar beliefs, values, and commitment. Have those in your life that you can hug, that you can cry, that you can pray together with. I never hesitate to reach out to those friends of mine when I need a prayer, especially those that drop what they're doing. They pray with me right there on the spot. Let's see real quick. Yes, I'm pretty sure Door County is a real place, Scooter. Beautiful place, northwest Wisconsin. See, I've never been up north. I don't know what's up there. That's kind of on mine and Robert's bucket list as we start this year. So I don't know if Kentucky's north, but it's up north from us. So that's where we're going our first week. Well, our first trip this year, end of March, we're going to Kentucky. Selena says, spend time with people I love. I'm scared you will be taken from me like Amelia Marie was taken. Sorry, still grieving, I guess. Of course. That's what I struggle with all the time, especially with Robert. It's like I want him. I don't necessarily need him right here next to me, but I need to know he's here, Oh, okay, gotcha. Greatest word spoken by a friend was, what can I pray for you? Right? Yes. Now, I do truly wish I was strong in that area. I'll say prayers in my head for people, but verbally speaking out loud, that's one of my, I don't know if you want to call it a weakness, but that's one thing I admire in my friends that can do that with me, that can just pray out loud right on the spot with me, And I'm not meaning to leave men out of this, but women need each other. There are times I've told Robert that I just need one of my woman friends to talk to. I just need that. I crave that relationship with my girlfriends, so to speak. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We can easily get ourselves distracted in projects, and we can also busy ourselves with our children and grandchildren, making their lives ours. And we can make the social media our sole focus as well. Things like YouTube. Oh, wow, Lisa D. I'll have to check that out. Harry says, spend time with your friends to go see them, not just on the internet. Sometimes people just really need a hug, especially old friends. Yes, 100%. Yes, she does. Selena was one I was thinking of. If someone calls me and asks for prayer, I pray and text it out if they text, and I will stop and pray, right? Yeah. To ask what my needs was, not details, was big, right? Yes. So, sharing and interacting, however, with others, including our peers and acquaintances, it's vital to good health, lower stress levels, as we discussed, and even keeping or slowing the onset of dementia that we discussed. We don't need to be everyone's best friend. Different acquaintances and relationships play various roles in our lives, and finding the right people can take time. Time, however, is one of our most valuable assets, right? I've said this before. And the time that we spend with those who are in our closest circle will influence many other parts of our lives. Relationships benefit our mental, emotional, and physical health. Keep in mind that these relationships are well worth the effort to maintain, especially the older we get. So, as always, thank you guys for starting off your week with me for Monday Motivation. We kind of, we didn't go right into the negative aspect relationship, Cool Ranch, but I hope some of that will help you figure out those tough relationships. So thank you guys for being here with me tonight. As I said earlier, tomorrow night I will be on with my better sister Selena for a one price start. Here we go. We're already starting now. One price short of a Happy Meal at 7:30 p.m. Central. Hold on. Joanne said, yes, Selena does. Just a few weeks ago, my car broke down getting on the freeway. I accidentally called Selena. She took the time to pray for me right there. So it was no accident. God knew I needed her. Amen, right? Yes. I love that. Yes. I'm not perfect. My mouth needs washed out with soap sometimes, but I have a lot of faith and fear, my Lord. Yes. Now, Sandy, you just need to add child to the front of that. Child, love you big, child, but you still make me cry. All right, sounds good, cool. So that will happen tomorrow night. Wednesday night, we will, Selena and I will both be on over at Josie's Place at 6 p.m. Central. And then Thursday night, I will have Cool Ranch Dorito on with me at 7:30 p.m. Central. And I thought this was the Sunday night that we were going on with Black Widow, but that's not the case. So that'll be next Sunday. So make sure you are subscribed, that you have the bell marked for all notification. And don't forget to leave that thumbs up on your way out. Again, I hope there was something in tonight's topic that helped you tonight that you can put in force going forward. Next Monday Motivation, we will be completing our climb up Hero Mountain, and we're going to move on to some other topics. So we will finally reach our summit next Monday. So rest up this week so we can finish strong next week together. Remember, relationships are built on love, respect, and honesty, but they need communication to survive. Now let's do this thing. Good night, everybody.